Well, multiple fire departments are here trying to put this fire out. Questar actually just shut off gas to this line that we showed you a half an hour ago, so they were able to turn off the fire. Now, here's what happened this morning. 2 firefighters have been injured. They have been taken to an area hospital. We're going to move over so this truck can get through. Now, they were taken to an area hospital. We don't know the extent of their injuries or which departments they are with. Another person was injured trying to fight the fire with his garden hose. He was treated and released with smoke inhalation. Now, some of this video that we shot overnight will show that a dozen or more homes and buildings like garages and sheds are now gone. Fire crews say that the fire took out most of a mobile home park just south of my location. Now, investigators say the fire started with a brush fire just west of where I'm standing. Now, the winds were ranging around 20 miles an hour, if not stronger, with stronger gusts. Now, those winds pushed the fire into this neighborhood. Now, here's one of the things that firefighters are facing, that they have to turn off the gas and the power to the area because transformers have blown and some of the gas lines are still exposed, so it's making it dangerous for firefighters to fight their fire. Questar is out here and they're shutting off those gas lines. Now, firefighters are also running water from every fire hydrant that they can in the area. They have to make sure that the water pressure is stable to fight this fire because all the hoses that they are using. Now, investigators believe, again, this was a brush fire that caused this massive fire.
Really, at this point, it's just a matter of stopping the loss. We've had, obviously, a lot of homeowners that are affected by this. Our thoughts are with them. We're doing the best we can to get them taken care of.
Now, the Utah Red Cross has set up a shelter for these victims. Now, that is located at the West Elementary School at 451 West, 300 South. And Red Cross is asking for all the victims to show up there for an update on information about when they can get back to this area to look at their homes. And they're also asking anyone that wants to volunteer to show up there.
We do begin with Good for Utah's Jason Wynn, who is live where officials believe that fire started. And Jason, how many people are being affected by this fire?
Well, the last numbers that we got was that 39 people have checked in with the Utah Red Cross after fire officials said that arson fire began right here. You can still see some of the crime scene tape right here that the sheriff's office laid down. Now, Chief Bucky Whitehouse with the Tooele City Fire Department said this was a catastrophe. Flames seen for miles, towering over homes and jumping streets.
Sounded like there was an awful lot of equipment coming in. I woke up to my wife telling me that, hey, there's a fire behind our house and we need to get out and see what's going on.
Moments later, Richard Davis and his wife were evacuated along with dozens of other families.
Every available resource was thrown at this fire in an attempt to put it out, in an attempt to save everyone's homes.
9 fire departments, nearly 100 firefighters, and plenty of volunteers tried to stop the fire. Gas lines had to be pinched off in the road because many of them were exposed. Power shut off because transformers were blowing above first responders' heads.
This is what we would consider to be a catastrophic-based fire because of the number of homes that were affected.
Residents were allowed back in the area to see all of this carnage. This used to be 10 homes right to my right. These cars, they were operational and driven yesterday. Now residents have to figure out how much property they lost. 3 firefighters suffered from smoke inhalation fighting the fire.
They were taken to Mountain West Medical and treated and then released to go back with their departments.
Taking a look at the area behind me, you can see why the chief is calling this catastrophic. Now, again, the state fire marshal is investigating this as an arson case. We'll bring you the latest on these nuts and bolts as they become available. The Provo Fire Department believes that it was wind that caused this massive tree to fall right on top of a family of 6, injuring 2 little boys. 2 boys the ages of 7 and 9 have been described as strong after being pinned down by a large tree.
Last night, the wind blew really hard. It scared us. There was branches breaking around all over the place.
But when the wind died down, gravity took over.
We were all asleep, and we just heard popping, cracking. I felt the branch over there come down by my trailer.
Then, a grandparent's worst nightmare had come true.
And then I heard the screaming, and it landed on this tent right here, which belongs to my daughter and son-in-law and their 4 children.
Doctors say the 9-year-old suffered facial fractures and a ruptured spleen. The 7-year-old had a broken femur. Both were taken to Primary Children's Hospital.
I'm glad that it didn't break off and slam down. It would have killed them. But this way, you know, the branch stopped, slowed it a little bit. The truck slowed it, I think.
Campers at the Lakeside RV campground lifted the tree trunk, freeing the children as others pulled them from the wreckage.
It is such a great community, and those visiting, you know, they look after one another as well, and so it's not a surprise to me that we had the assistance that we had.
I'm really happy with the outcome. Sad it had to happen.
The family's from El Salvador, and they were here on a family vacation and reunion, and you can expect they're going to have this story for years to come. Well, the fire is under investigation. The houses, I should say, have been returned back to the original owners. But the fire investigators won't come out and say that this is a case of arson. But they do say this fire is very suspicious. Towering flames consumed one home and torched another, as seen in this video by one Good for Utah viewer.
Both the homes were vacant to our knowledge.
Furniture was being moved into the...
They just sold it, and I guess people have put stuff in the garage. And I thought they had moved in.
But at the other house, the renters were just evicted and came to the home early this morning in search of their cats. Dale Livingston blames the owner.
We believe that she was involved behind whatever arson.
He says investigators found gas in the garage and basement.
Look at the truth of it. You've got what's called the garage area.
Yeah.
Okay, out there, and that caught on fire, obviously. But there was also fire down in the basement where I had my office and my books.
We have a fire investigator on scene at this point in time. It's an active investigation. I can't really speak to the specifics. We don't know yet what the point of origin was.
Livingston says he does and wants to know one thing.
How did you jump from that part all the way down into the basement? You tell me.
Now I'm being told that the homeowner for this home actually lives in California and has family in the area. Emily and Brian, I'm being told that Unified Police and Unified Fire Authority are going to search through everything for a cause on what caused this fire. Police believe that 16-year-old girl was in her family's SUV. They also believe that she may have caused property damage across multiple cities before crashing into and killing 2 people here in Royse City. Clinton police say they got a tip for a white SUV around midnight that caused property damage in Syracuse.
I'm being told that there was a trash can underneath or being drugged. There was a trash can attached to the vehicle somehow.
A Clinton police officer would spot the SUV near the border of Clinton and Royse City. The officer would try to make a traffic stop on 3500 West, but the 16-year-old girl would speed up. Clinton police would tell Good for Utah their officer watched the SUV crash into this car.
It appears initially that they were rear-ended, and then that vehicle then struck the traffic light behind us.
Royse City police says inside the car was a 20-year-old woman driver and a 19-year-old male passenger. One would die on scene and the other at an area hospital. The force of the impact caused this traffic light to come off of the pole.
The SUV continued northbound. It appears that it's still at a high rate of speed, traveled through some yards, uprooted some fences, hit a parked car in a driveway and a horse trailer, and then came to rest in a field.
Police believe the girl would cause this wagon to crash into the side of this garage. Police say the 16-year-old would then run, but police would catch her at the Winco Foods parking lot. Now she has been booked on 2 counts of murder. Police won't release the 16-year-old's name because she's a minor. The QM2 test was put on hold after engineers had to basically replace a hard drive to get the computer system up and operating. But after they did that, you could feel the velocity from that rocket in your bones.
3, 2, 1, fire.
It's great to see it come to fruition.
Hundreds of people and their companies joined together to watch years of hard work finally come together.
All we see is the end results. We don't see exactly what it takes for this to actually happen. And for me to know and just see parts of what it takes for this to happen, that's why I'm excited.
The test will help engineering teams improve the safety, technology, and new knowledge of the solid rocket motor. The rocket is 154 feet long and 12 feet wide. When fired, it will produce 3.6 million pounds of maximum thrust.
This enables future Mars missions. Without this booster, we wouldn't have our new Space Launch System heavy lift rocket. Without that rocket, we cannot get beyond low Earth orbit.
Scientists and engineers will look at the new nozzle modifications, its vectoring parameters, insulation upgrades that consist of an asbestos-free design, plus the command and control booster separation motor system.
As far as the astronauts, it should be seamless to them. We hope that they don't even notice a difference except more power.
Power NASA astronauts have been waiting for since the last shuttle launch in 2011.
That gives you immediate thrust. You know, you're laying on your back on a launch pad, you know, 1 times the pull of gravity, so 1 G, and all of a sudden instantly 2 Gs, and you can feel it, and it shakes and it's rough, and it is an amazing ride, and you can feel the power. You can just feel the power.
It's been a long time now that we've been flying American people on Russian rockets. We've not had our own launch vehicle. We've just been working in low Earth orbit. Not that that's easy, but it's about time to go exploring further, and this makes that happen.
Engineers and scientists are going to be looking at the data from this rocket test, and if everything goes well, this is going to be the most powerful rocket ever to leave Earth in 2018. I'm Jason Wynn at Orbital ATK. Good for Utah.